great blessings of being in spiritual community is the power of joining together in prayer. So let's welcome our prayer partner this morning, Linda McCabe.
Beautiful. And I would ask that each of you join with me in prayer. Bring to mind those beloveds, family, friends, life situations, world situations, whatever it is that you're holding in your heart and in your minds today. Let us bring those into the circle of prayer that we are creating, and know that there is power in numbers. For when Jesus tells us that when one or more are gathered in his name, there he is. And so in the Christed nature of his presence, let us join together. Let us open into a spaciousness of all possibility. A spaciousness that is eternal in nature. A spaciousness where wholeness resides. And as we tap into the light of our own being, for I am knowing that God is perfect wholeness, that God is love in the one power and one presence. And as I know that for God, I know that is true for each of you. It is true for me. It is true for our community, for our world. So despite what our eyes may be seeing, there is underpinning all of life is this perfect wholeness. And let us call upon the power of seal, that joy which is our birthright, that joy that pushes forth from within to create our perfect next step. For life is flowing through each beloved. Life is flowing through and uplifting each one into their own perfect next aspect. For we are affirming that light is in each situation. Light is birthing itself anew. And as we focus on the eternal nature of the soul, there is nothing and no thing that can truly, truly disturb our peace. And so let us affirm that joy is here, even if small, even if quiet, joy is here. And in gratitude for this knowing, in gratitude for this community, in gratitude for these possibility of prayer to influence outcome, we say, so be it, and so it is. Amen.
Well, do you remember when Reverend Toni Boehm was here in September? And we promised there'd be more. It's later in October seemed a long time ago then, and here we are. We start today. Everything is energy, and energy doesn't lie. When you're living in coherence, there is harmony and balance showing up in your life. Life is filled with ease and grace. When you're living in resistance, illness, dis-ease, discomfort, lack, limitation, they become your companions. So we're about to embark on a two-part series exploring how coherence and or resistance reveals itself in our life and energy field. And to bring us all of that is the wonderful Reverend Toni Boehm. Welcome back, Reverend Toni. Reverend Toni is an ordained unity minister, an internationally known speaker, an author of 12 books, a certified organization and life coach, a nurse, a poet, the former vice president of education, hospitality, and retreats for Unity Institute, the 2017 recipient of the Charles Fillmore Award for Visionary Leadership, and an amazing woman to boot, who has already been extraordinarily helpful to our community with Sheila and I before we even started this morning. Thank you, Reverend Toni. And on behalf of our community, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. And for me, as I start to prepare for this Sunday experience, I like to start with meditation. So I invite each of you to close your eyes and take that journey, bringing your attention into your heart space. As you close your eyes and be aware of the energy field. And preparing for that, let us, with each sound of the bell that you hear, allow the bell to take you deeper into your interior field of energy within your heart. It is within your heart space that you connect with the energy of the law of one. One presence, one power, one energy, one universal intelligence. It is in this heart space that the realization is made that there is one universal intelligent energy, divine substance that permeates all things and out of which all things are made. And you have a role in this creative process. So whatever it is that you came here with today, whatever thought you had of a need or a want, perhaps it's relationships, perhaps it's financial, perhaps it's health. Know that in the presence of the one presence and one power, there is wholeness, there is life, there is abundance, there is peace of mind, there is light that answers every question. Eternal truth, eternal love, eternal harmonic resonance, eternal coherence and coherent energy. This inner light within you that shines so bright, a radiant, luminous, crystalline, diamond-like light. Feel it, sense it, tap it. It is the field of energy within you from which all arises. It is the field of energy that holds unity, consciousness. It is the field of energy that directly reflects divine love, the harmonic resonance that binds the whole human family together. In this light, in this flame, we understand that we are each on a journey. Each soul is on a journey. And each soul is at a different level on the journey. And our work is to awaken and to recognize and realize the truth of who we are. I am the presence of the living Christ. I am the presence of the living Christ. I am the presence of the living Christ. Let us sit for a moment in the silence, knowing the truth of this statement as it resonates through every cell of our being in the silence. Today I claim, decree, and know I am a coherent field of energy. And from that coherent field, I create the world that I am a part of and expression of. And I know this to be true. And to anchor this in consciousness, I use these words in Aramaic from the Lord's Prayer, an ancient language. Metal delehi melkuta wahaila wateshbukta lahalim Amen. Amen. Hatam, hatam, hatam. So it is, so it is, so it is. Amen. Taking that deep breath. Bring your awareness back to this moment. Give thanks and stand in appreciation. So it is. So, being gentle as we come out of that meditation experience, this title of the talk this morning is Coherence or Resistance. Which energy field do you live in? And it's based upon my book, Soul Mastery. It's backwards, I can see because of the reflection, Soul Mastery. You can find that on Amazon.com. So, in 2005, I consciously said yes to a life-altering experience. Now, I want to tell you about that experience, but I want to set it up first because it started out as an exciting journey and ended up in a dark night of the soul. Now, there's nothing wrong with the dark night of the soul. In fact, they are some of the most precious moments we will ever have because a dark night of the soul is calling us to higher awarenesses of ourselves. In fact, to me, this is what COVID has been. COVID has been a collective dark night of the soul that is inviting us into deeper ways of finding who we are. Enough said about that. I have a whole different talk about that. So it started out as an exciting journey, ended in a dark night of the soul. But it gave me the experience of choosing. What will I say yes to? Will I say yes to coherence or will I say yes to resistance? And in order to make this choice in the end, I had to let go of everything I thought I knew. Everything I thought I knew. Everything I thought I knew about me. Everything I thought I knew about unity. All the platitudes. And believe me, friends, I was one who spouted a lot of platitudes. And perhaps maybe even did a little bit of fizzling in my lifetime with spirituality. But I had to let go of all of that in order to fully dance at the edge of mystery and to learn how to trust that spirit beyond anything else, to know that I know that I know that I am a witness to source energy. That the I am presence and power, you can call it Christ consciousness, God, source energy, whatever you want to call it. I call it the I am presence and power. Had dominion in my life. And in the end, I was gifted with a new reality. For I learned how to attune, align, live, and be that presence of the living Christ frequency. And that's what I'm going to share with you today, because that was all about coherence. To initiate this conversation that occurred, I really want to set a conscious, intentional foundation. And again, without a platitude, but a true knowing. There is only one presence and one power in this universe, one energy. in this universe and in my life. And if you doubt it, friends, do this. Check your pulse. Check your pulse. What do you feel? You feel that universal life intelligence moving through you. And when it is complete with you, there is nothing here. So as long as you are alive, you are a living expression of that one presence and that one power, whatever you want to call it, God, energy, source energy, Christ, Buddha. At times, Mr. Fillmore called it substance. Charles Fillmore is a co-founder of Unity. He called it the creative source of all things. He shared that substance is the divine energy that underlies all things and calls forth all things into being. It is the creative source, this substance, this universal energy. And our role is to shape this substance through our imagination, through our zeal, through our power. We shape the substance in alignment to the level of vibration in which we are resonating. And we're going to talk about what that means too. As I wrote in the introduction, to which Brenda so eloquently spoke to, it's all energy. And energy doesn't lie. You can't fake spiritual vibration. Either you have it or you don't. Either you are expressing it or you are not. And as you grow spiritually, as you mature spiritually and emotionally, that changes the vibration, the level of awareness from which you are seeing and participating with life. And that vibration is felt. In fact, there's a story of a woman. It was written in Unity magazine. There was a story of a woman in Charles Fillmore and Unity magazine. And this was like the 1920s. And she wrote to, back then there was a question and answer period, and Mr. Fillmore put this in there. She had written to Mr. Fillmore and she asked the question, why is it when I go to my mailbox and I pick up my copy of Unity magazine, it begins to vibrate in my hand? She said, it begins to shake my hand. And Mr. Fillmore wrote back to her that it is vibration. It has been imbued with the vibration. He was talking about the vibration of Christ consciousness because they prayed over any copy that went out. And that vibration is imbued. Everything is energy. Energy doesn't lie. Everything we say, every action we take is a vibrational imprint, has a vibrational imprint, and that imprint imprints upon the world and the field in which we are living, moving, and taking action. It's a felt vibration. You know when you're in the midst of it. You know when something is coherent, and you know when you're in resistance. The problem is sometimes we know we're in resistance and we ignore it. And we ignore it because we actually enjoy feeling sorry for ourselves, letting it be all about me, letting it be about the need to be right greater than being in the coherence of Christ energy. So back to my experience, the one that had this life-altering exchange. I'm going to set it up in this way. In the midst of this experience, I discovered 3 statements that transformed my consciousness and reality forever. I'm going to share with you those 3 statements, and then I'm going to share the experience. The first was, if you want to know how the universe works, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. Now that came from Nikola Tesla, and that was before Tesla was popular. I found this. If you want to know how the universe works, and I began to ask in my meditation times, I want to know how the universe works. I thought I knew. I thought I had all the teachings of unity. But perhaps there's more. What is energy? I started to ask my higher self and the guides that come with it. What is vibration? What is frequency? How do I dance with each of these? What does it mean to dance at the edge of mystery? What does it mean to be in vibrational alignment? And the answers started coming quickly. The second quote is from Charles Fillmore out of Smashing Power of Mind. And this is a paraphrase of it. Life is an ever progressive, ever evolving, upward spiral of conscious evolution. That is what we are seeing, friends. In life, life is an ever progressive, ever evolving upward spiral of conscious evolution, of which we individually participate in, and through our individual consciousness then add to the collective consciousness, so that the collective consciousness is moving. The question is, are we going to do this in coherence, or are we going to do it in resistance? And then the third, and this one may blow you away, the third quote I found from Charles Fillmore was in an unpublished talk that he did that was entitled The Fourth Dimension in Man. The Fourth Dimension in Man. And in it, he says, unity is a fourth dimensional teaching, which is a metaphysical bridge between third and fifth dimensions. And then he said, dimensions are not locations, but vibrating fields of energy. What? Mr. Fillmore said this back in the 30s? Unity is a fourth dimensional teaching, a metaphysical bridge between third dimension. Well, that just led me on a whole nother path too. And that's what soul mastery is all about. It describes in detail those dimensions and the qualities and behaviors and actions we take as we live out of these dimensions. I'm just going to give you a little overview. So third dimension, as I have come to understand it, is this dimension we live in. It's the physical dimension, but its energy, its vibration is literally a survival, egoic, fear-based dimension. Now you say this, how do you know this is true? Because if what Mr. Fillmore said is unity is a fourth dimensional teaching, if that's true. And he also said this, when you walk into a unity church and you begin to cry and you know you are home, he says that is the awakening of the I am presence, your first awakening, opening into this fourth dimensional consciousness. And so this third dimension is fear-based, but when we open to fourth dimension, we start to understand I am. We might understand it, and there's levels, there's different levels within this. So we understand it at first of there's a possibility. We might still have our God out here, but we have a possibility that there's a God in here. And then we evolve into that until we fully take on fifth dimension, which is that Christ consciousness. And on our way, we're going to tap into that fifth dimensional Christ consciousness and all the qualities. But however, to maintain and sustain this higher level of awareness, I just call it higher level of awareness, we have to understand that this is what Jesus, this is what Yeshua, I like to call him Yeshua, his Aramaic name, this is what he came to teach us. And Mr. Fillmore did all that work on the metaphysical Bible dictionary. And because he started to see every character and element reveals to us an aspect of ourselves and is a part of our soul growth. So he says the Bible is the story of our spiritual evolution. And the story of Jesus is this part of the evolution that we're in now. Every element and character, from his mother to the experience of the resurrection and ascension, is something that we will go through. And that's why it becomes so important not to put those things behind us, but to be present to them and to continually asking, what does this mean for my soul growth? What does this mean for my soul growth? What does this mean for my soul growth? If I'm in resistance to it, if I'm in resistance to even the name Jesus, what does this mean to my soul growth? Where in me have I things that I haven't healed yet? What might be ready to be healed? So now we go to 2005. So 2005, I was vice president Unity. I was in charge of education and hospitality and retreats, and I was on the executive team. It was everything that I had ever wanted. And then a friend of mine said, let's go to Peru and study with a shaman. This was in April. And I think we went in end of April, came back towards the end of May. It was about 3 weeks. And I said, yes, I want to go. I want to go. So I invited my sister. She invited a couple people. And we went down and we landed in Lima. And then we took another plane and we went to this little town that was on the Amazon, where supposedly the #1 shaman in all of South America lived in the jungle. And we went out to the jungle at night. He would only teach at night. We went out at night, and we were involved in ceremony and teachings, and it was a powerful experience. And the place we stayed in that was right on the Amazon was like a Swiss Family Robinson place, and had no windows. It just had screens. It was all screens, but it was all windows. You see through the screens, and so we heard the birds, and it was just it was like surreal. And then we'd go out at night and we'd go to the jungles. We'd come back in the morning, and it was a life-changing experience. Life-changing working with this. And then many other things happened, like going to Machu Picchu and having an experience where I didn't know you weren't allowed to touch the rock. And I went and I laid myself over the rock, and the energy just like nearly bolted me. And there's a big rock at the top of Machu Picchu where they say that the indigenous people would work with the stars and things like that. So all that happened. I come back, and I am like just changed to death. And there were only women that went. That's the interesting thing. So it was a whole feminine energy that was being partaken in. And so as that happened, I came back, and a couple of weeks later, so now it might be, I don't know, June, maybe July, into July, I'm in meditation and I start hearing, you are complete. You are complete. You are done. And I knew what it meant. It meant unity. I was done everything, and I went to spirit in resistance and said, are you sure? I've worked so hard for this. This is where I want to be. This is everything I want to be about. You are done. I kept getting it. And then I said to spirit, again, in resistance, not just taking that breath of coherence and going, yes, I understand. I will follow the guidance. But from resistance, I said, okay, I get it. But there was still a feel of resistance. I said, here's my plan. I will, at the end of next year, 2006, when this class graduates, I will resign and I will move on. And I thought, fine, I'm going to do what spirit wants me to do, but what? I did it from my ego. I did it in my time, my terms, my way. So what happens when you're not listening to spirit? Spirit ratchets up the heat. And it wasn't even 2 weeks later. It was like August 10th. August 10th, Daniel Namott's there. We're having a retreat and we're dancing in the auditorium at Unity Village Chapel. And there's carpeting on the aisles, but under the seats, it's linoleum. And it would just been waxed. And we're dancing, and I go to turn. I slip on the linoleum, and I'm dancing, dancing, all this movement with my weight behind it. I hit the energy, I hit the edge of the seat. I knock myself out. And when I come to, I have no short-term memory. What happened? Where am I? What's going on here? And immediately I went to the doctors, and I was in a neurological crisis. I had disrupted all the pathways on the right side of my brain. and I had to take a leave of absence. You see, Spirit was saying now. I was saying next year. Spirit was saying no, now. Now, when I talk to you, it's not about next year. It's now. When I give you such clear guidance, it's now. And your work is to learn to listen to. So I took a leave of absence, and for about 2 weeks, truthfully, I felt very sorry for myself. Whining, crying, why did this happen to me? This can't be. I had everything, blah, 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 you know. And then in meditation, I was in meditation, I heard the word yes, yes, yes. Heard it so loud, so clear. And I knew that was my first sign of coherence. And I heard the words, your empowerment system, your energetic source. Yes, what I say yes to. It's like Jesus saying, let your yeses be yes. This is a yes universe. And I picked myself up and I started putting my life back together. And I started doing, and that's when the 3 quotes came into my awareness, each at a different time. But each one came to teach me something. And in the meantime, I'm doing all these exercises to bring balance and coherence back to my brain. But I realized, I said to myself, and this is before all the big stuff around neural pathways and all of that came into vogue. I said to myself, if I have to rearrange my neural pathways, and this is, why don't I do it in a way that's conscious? So I went back into the teachings of Charles Fillmore, and I did a deep dive and immersion. And I said, if I'm going to put my neural pathways back together, I'm going to do it in a way that's going to serve my spiritual growth. That's where I was being guided. And whoa, did I ever. So many things happened. But it was all about me learning about energy, vibration, frequency, coherence, resistance. This was on the leading edge of all this, because a lot of this didn't come into vogue until around, I don't know, somewhere around 2012, 2015, when the brain science and all of those kind of things really started coming in from like the Joe Dispenzas and all of those kind of things. So it was the very leading edge moment in my life. And then Mr. Fillmore, with that whole idea, he said, everything has vibration. Vibration imprints on the field around us. And in every interaction, there is an exchange of energy and vibration. I remember he left this planet, 47, 48, and he wrote this probably in the 30s and the 20s. He was so far ahead of his time. But it took me having all this to catch up to what the depths of his teaching were. And so it's been a very, very powerful transition. And the other thing I learned is the lower the level of vibration, the more I align with third dimensional thoughts, like those 2 weeks where I was feeling so sorry, oh, poor me, why aren't I getting what I want? That more resistance is in the field. And you're just going to call more of it to you. It was a living, practical example. But then I realized the higher the level of vibration, the higher I align my vibration. Now, friends, I'd already been in unity in 2005. I've been in unity since 1974. So what is that, 30 years?
Where are you? Oh, there you are.
Hello, Linda Cave. You are, there you go. Thank you. There you go. Thank you. So I'd already been in unity 30 years and I'm just waking up to this. And I thought I knew that I knew. So the higher the level of vibration, the quicker is the impact on our thoughts, meaning the quicker things start to manifest in our world. And I decided, I made a conscious choice. I said, yes, this is the world I want to live in. I want to live fully in this fourth dimensional state, which is a natural. So now I define it as a natural state of awareness that I now call conscious neutrality. Conscious neutrality. It is the state of awareness that says, oh, this is interesting. It's a state of awareness that practices non-judgment, non-attachment, non-resistance, because it knows that coherence is what supports our energy field in us moving forward and being more present to life. So resistance occurs when we're out of the flow or rhythm of life, and when we're out of alignment with source. And when we're out of alignment, it's because fear and greed and jealousy and poor me and lack consciousness all are being bigger than the I am. But when we're in coherence, when we're in alignment with coherence, we understand and we see I am participatory at every level of consciousness to the expressions around me. I'm participatory. Doesn't mean I caused it, created it, but I'm participatory to it because I'm involved in it. So if I want to change my current landscape of reality, I have to change how I'm showing up. How I'm showing up. I have to change the vibration of the thoughts and feelings that I am holding. So this takes us back to Jesus and the Sermon on the Mount. And the whole idea of him teaching us to pray. And the word he uses to pray this way is beshemi. Beshemi. In Aramaic, beshemi means vibration, energy, sound, frequency. Pray. He was saying, pray in this frequency. It wasn't the prayer, it was the frequency of the prayer. It wasn't the prayer, it was the frequency of the prayer. And that's why in the end of the meditation, I use the Matodo Lelahe, because that frequency is so powerful. So in closing, I would just want to give you, because next week we're going to go through the 33 tenets. I'm not going to go through all 33 of them. I'm going to pick and choose that really can bring us into this coherence, this conscious neutrality. But I want to give you some practical application to leave with and live with. Listen deeply to the intentions that desire to arise through you. If spirit speaks to you, listen and follow through. The light of hearing will amplify the choice that is being made. The light of the intention that you hold. 2, that's one. 2, ask yourself empowering questions. Mr. Fillmore says, honest self-observation is the prelude to Christ consciousness. You want to truly reach into Christ consciousness, higher awareness, I like to call it higher dimensional awareness. Then ask self-empowering questions and answer them honestly, like, what are the areas of mastery I need to focus on now? To know that you don't know is a great quality. I know that I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing. Am I dancing at the edge of mystery, or do I think I know everything? Are my choices and expectations for the highest good for me, are they in alignment with the highest good of all, or is this just all about me? I see a lot of ministries go into crisis because the people start only thinking about what they want. I don't want that pulpit moved. So we go into great crisis because it's about what I want versus what might be for the highest and best of all. Do I really heart check my choices? When I say heart check, I mean just like this. You put both hands up. You pick a hand, and in this one, I'll put this is my choice. This is the antithesis. See which one's heavier. Heart test it. Heart test it. And then always ask, am I living conscious neutrality? Which means, am I being interested or am I in judgment? And it's important that you write these out, write out your answers so that because what's really important is to take one action step, one small micro movement that will create a revelation towards fulfillment. It will change your life, friends. Yes, 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 yes is your empowerment system. Yes is your energetic source. Yes invites you into coherence. coherence or resistance, which is the field of energy you want to live from. God bless you all. Thank you for having me here.